Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to be talking about one of my oldest. This may be actually my first EDH deck. It has gone through some changes over the years, obviously, as cards have come out and outclassed other cards, because we strictly don't print better than cards. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, back before, I don't know, many years ago, the family that I play with, the kids had just called this old blue because it was just full of a bunch of old blue cards. But when Time Spiral came out, that was around the time that I found EDH, and when I opened up Teferi, Mage of Zalfir, I looked at it and I said, "Oh my gosh, does this not look just like Michael Jordan?" And a few years later, I found out that a good friend of mine, Mr. Aaron Perry, is an artist, and he altered my Teferi Mage of Zalfir to MJ himself. So the theme for this deck, I'm not going to lie, a lot of times I don't do this, but this is the one deck that I have that is the most oppressive deck that I could make. And with that in mind, all card choices went to that end. So we will start. I've got them grouped in categories here. As you can tell, what Teferi does, he's a 3/4 with flash. It says creatures you own that aren't in play have flash, and your opponents can only play stuff at sorcery speed. Now, that in and of itself is pretty bad, but we try to abuse that as much as possible for the fact that they cannot respond with cards. They can respond with abilities, but they cannot respond with cards. So I thought, well, the very foremost oppressive thing would be to jump out ahead on mana. So we got our mana rocks here. Of course, it's a mono blue deck, so we've got the Sapphire Medallion, Soul Ring, Cage Sun, of course, since we are monocolored, and along with the Cage Sun, we have the Gauntlet of Power. So we're double and tripling our blue mana, and that was not quite enough. So of course, Fallen Empires gave us 4 different arts of High Tide. Now, honestly, I picked this art because nobody else uses it. We have a lot of artifacts in this. It's not on purpose an artifact deck, but the Blink Moth Urn, certainly dumping tons of mana into our turn, really helps. The Voltaic Key to untap some artifacts. Of course, we're going to roll through these real quick. Sky Diamond, Darksteel Ingot. It is important that we have a lot of actual blue mana sources, so that's why we're using some of the ones that are not terribly efficient. It's 3 for 1 most of the time. The Darksteel Ingot. This not having a max hand size. This is a great card. I wish they would print in something where they could foil it. I don't know. Of course, we got to have the Thran Dynamo, Manalith, Dreamstone Hedron. Dreamstone Hedron is the coup de grace for card drawing. Yes, mana, card drawing when you don't need it, it's pretty good. Same thing with the Hedron. Now, Everflowing Chalice. I really like Everflowing Chalice. It's good early, it's good late. There's just no downside to it. Of course, the Worn Power Stone. Here again, colored blue mana matters. And of course, got to have the Mana Vault and the Cold Steel Heart, because the Cold Steel Heart does give us blue. Now, I'm going to jump to the non-basic lands real quick. The Talera West. Now, I realize that this may not be... I've got it in my tutor pile because, let's face it, you're just about hardly ever going to use this as a land. This is a tutor. This is a 3-mana tutor that you go get either One, your Chalice of the Void that you already saw, your Reliquary Tower, Homeward Path, because, you know, people do like to steal stuff, or your Academy Ruins. Now, the Academy Ruins is there for obvious sake to bring back your artifacts. And then, of course, y'all know me. I have to have those two, Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse, and Temple of the False God. That covers the lands. I have 2 copy effects. Copy Artifact and Phyrexian Metamorph. Now, what I tend to use these on is the Cage Sun, because I love tapping that island for 5-6 mana. It's absolutely insane. We have a little bit of protection here. Evacuation is just a great card. I've used it forever. I love it. Blue ain't got a whole lot of board wipes, but a lot of times this will buy you the turn or two that you need. Of course, Lightning Greaves, you got to protect Teferi, because as soon as he comes out, they're gunning for him. Now, what I've found is the best time to play him is, of course, at the end of the turn, right before yours. During their end step, you're going to Teferi. You probably already got the boots out. During your first main phase, you put the boots on, and you're just about there. Because you can do some shenanigans on everybody else's turn, but you really don't want them doing anything on your turn. Or turns, how shall I say. We'll get to that in a second. As I said, you're going to take some damage early, and Ivory Tower and Vincer's Journal help kind of absorb some of that. Of course, the propaganda. Got to have the propaganda here again, for those early decks that just want to beat you down. And I run the Ether. You'd be surprised how good this is. It just about blanks haste, because it makes their artifacts and creatures come in tapped, which is really strong. Now let's get to our card draw. We have a bunch of card draw. Of course, Stroke of Genius. Here again, we want to stroke. More times than not, I tend to stroke at the end of the last turn, right before mine. Windfall. Windfall can be absolutely great, because there are times when I have played this where somebody's had more cards than me. Doesn't happen a lot. We'll do our X spells. Got to have the Brain Geyser. Good old-fashioned Brain Geyser there. Mind Spring. Draw X cards. Blue Sun Zenith. Drawing X cards. Now, our buddy Arcanus here. The creatures that I have in here are not... I don't have a lot, but the creatures I have in here are for utility purposes. Now, Arcanus, super obvious. We're just tapping him to draw 3 cards. That's a crazy ability. It's worthy of his own deck. I have not built Arcanus yet, but I will. Memory Jar. Love me some Memory Jar. Oh my gosh. Now, obviously, you're going to do this on the when it best benefits you. I know that's got a whole lot of text there. Maybe I can zoom in and you can read it. You sack it to each player sets aside their hand. They draw a new hand of 7 cards. And you play with it that turn. The beautiful part is, if you've got Teferi out, they literally can't use any of those cards because it's your turn. You're going to cast this, and it's probably going to sit out there a turn. I don't know. If you've got just a ton of mana through your doublers, you can go ahead and pop it the turn you play it. But this... there's no other way to look at it, and in this deck, this is going to draw you 7 cards. Yes, you lose those cards at the end of the turn, but there's a good chance you're just going to play them all anyway. Now, Touristic Study. There you go, Clay. Touristic Study. You going to pay for that? You paying for that? I love Touristic Study getting out there early. because this nets you more cards. There's a reason why this thing is just obscenely expensive for a dang common. It's too good, and I'm not sure if this will be reprinted. I know I probably in a supplemental thing, but I don't see this effect ever in standard again. And expropriate. Now here let's zoom in on this because expropriate is kind of a little different. Starting with you, each player votes for time or money. For each time vote, you take an extra turn. For each money vote, I steal a permanent. I love the upgrade in voting from Conspiracy 1 to Conspiracy 2. In Conspiracy 1, you just, for the voting cards, whatever got the most votes you did. Conspiracy 2, the Council's Dilemma over Will the Council, is so much better because you get something for every vote. 5-6 player games, this is crazy. There's a reason why it's 9 mana. I love it. Tutors. Obviously, tutors. This is amazing. Planar Portal, the ability to just tutor every turn, and I do mean every turn, because the unwinding clock with the tutor, you are going to be tutoring on everybody's turn. Now, generally, all it takes is one round of this, one turn round of this, and you'll have what you need. Thanks to this guy. Remember him? Because nobody's stopping instance. Nobody's counterspelling. Nobody's in response gonna... No, it's not going to happen. Love it. Of course, we have the Mystical Tutor to go and get the pieces that we need more times than not. I use this to go get the High Tide. Fabricate for maybe that last artifact piece that you need. Merchant Scroll, similar to Mystical Tutor. Tezzeret also gets you artifacts. And if you've got the pieces you need, he can just untap artifacts to make you some more mana. And of course, the Treasure Mage to go get Cage Sun or the Portal. Now, let's take an extra turn. Hey, there's lots of time like the present. As far as oppressive cards go, this is one that is just a feel bad for everybody who's not casting it. I swear to you, I have seen more people concede games when somebody says time stretch. Yeah, time stretch is just 2 turns. I don't care if it's 10 mana. It's too good. I don't know of any other card that just flat out says take multiple turns. Oh, wait. Except for this guy, Sarge. A little bit of here. Let me set you in front of Teferi for a second. Let me tell you about Sarge. Lighthouse Chronologist. Lighthouse Chronologist costs 9 mana. Yeah, it looks like he costs 2 and the level up is 1. But no, he costs 9 mana because most of the time I'm just going to spend 9 to lay this sun gun down and it becomes the lightning round. Now, years ago, there's this program called Red versus Blue. I don't know if anybody's seen it. Love it. Absolutely hilarious. There's this scene, I can't remember what season, I think it's season 2, 1, I don't know, where Sarge has the lightning round. And they're like, who's in the lightning round? Me. This guy, at the beginning of each end step, if it's not your turn, take an extra turn. So it's my turn, and then Clay's turn, and then my turn, and then Joe's turn, and then it's my turn, and then it's your turn, and then it's my turn. Wow. Double turns. Back in the Star Trek game, Horgon got banned because it lets you take double turns. I love this guy. If he lives, if people let him live, he is amazing. I don't like that the level up was a sorcery ability. If they had done the level up abilities like the Figure of Destiny, it would have been alright where you could do it at instant speed. But the ability to just, you have to do it on your main phase, kinda, to me, it just adds to the cost of the creature. But that's just me. Of course, we have Temporal Mastery, which I have never, ever, ever miracled. The good old Time Warp, just flat out take an extra turn. Now, the Beacon, really like the Beacon because it shuffles back in and you can draw it later with all of your massive card drawing spells. And then Walk the Eons. I don't know that I have ever sacked the 3 islands to buy it back because it's all about massive mana generation here. And you have so many take an extra turn effects that it just doesn't. That's the core blue stuff. Now let's look at the really oppressive stuff, okay? We're going to do this Psychosis Crawler. Y'all saw how many cards we're drawing. Psychosis Crawler alone, unchecked, can kill a table. Talk about your feel-bad moments. Mistress Helix, this is one of those cards that, let me get up a little closer here. Mistress Helix is one of those cards that it's been, I mean, it is really oppressive. And if your lands and your artifacts, you're producing so much mana and they're untapping every turn, you can lock the table out of their turn. During everybody's untap step, you untap everything, and during their upkeep, you tap all their lands. They cannot cast instants because remember, you have Teferi out, and they can only cast spells as if they were sorceries. This is almost crossed the line, but that's the theme we're going with. So now, this is another one that's way on up there in just unfairness. Yes, he's 8 mana. He is a 5/5. Why did you zoom out of him? Okay. He's an 8 mana 5/5, and whenever you play a spell, you return a target permanent to its owner's hand. Every time I play a spell, huh? So let's buy back the capsize, and then we're capsizing one for this and one for this. And capsize goes back to my hand. That seems pretty good. The only thing that'd be better than Tidespout Tyrant and capsize is 6 Tidespout Tyrants and capsize. Generally, once Tidespout Tyrant's out there and you cast the Rite of Replication, game's over. Everybody just quit. No other way to say it. So as far as unfun guys go, or wildly oppressive, Jin-Gitaxias. Yes, Elish Norn is awesome. Vorinclex is cool. Urbrax I play with in Uruk-Thar, but, you know, Jin-Gitaxias, 10 mana, man. And he has Flash, so here again, well, thanks to our boy here, Mr. Jordan, the most oppressive, dominant basketball, that's kind of where I got the theme, by the way. Nobody dominates court like Jordan does. Anyway, Jin-Gitaxias, y'all read that for a second. At the beginning of your upkeep, or of your end step, draw 7. And during each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 7. Yes, in EDH, we all have a lot of no max hand size. But if you ain't got it, woo, it's bad. Cyclonic Drift. Talk about oppression. This card, I think I've spoken about this before. Cyclonic Drift is just, I think it's a little over the line. It's so one-sided. That's why I had to include it here. It is, I wonder how much longer the rules committee is going to let this slide, because there's no, at instant speed, everything that's not mine, wow. By the way, always, always, always overload this unless it is a dire necessity to just get rid of, to bounce that one permanent. I love Future Sight. The set and the card, shoot yeah. Future Sight's been amazing for years. The playing with the top card of your library, and you may play it as though it were in your hand. A lot of times, this equates to card draw at an insane rate. I cannot believe how many cards I have played off this. Yeah, you're going to flip up, a couple of lands, but you've got some tutor effects, you've got some shuffle effects with your lands. I generally, if I've got a Future Sight out, I'll play my Terramorphic and just let it chill for a moment. Just in case I need to shuffle the library, or I can Phyrexian Portal to shuffle. I did not put Sensei's Divining Top in this deck. The reason why, I didn't feel it was oppressive enough. But Sensei's Divining Top works beautifully with Future Sight, by the way. Now, y'all remember that Academy Ruins we had? You remember that card? It seems pretty good. Now, Mindslaver, there's not a lot to talk about here. Just take somebody's turn, and then you can put it on top of your library. At the end of it's, especially if you're drawing multiple cards, you can completely and totally take over somebody's turn forever, because there's always that one deck at the table that you have trouble dealing with. Mindslaver locks are just a horrible, feel-bad thing. Now, of course, we got time reversal, because there is... You're going to play your spells, and, you're just going to want to get them back. And if nothing else, you want to draw 7. Now, it also helps offensively to where you've got that opponent who's got that just huge grip. They've got 25 cards in their hand. No, buddy, I don't think so. Go back to 7. Now, I've only got 3 cards left here. As far as oppressive creatures go, 12 mana is not an issue. Come on, get back now. 12 mana is not an issue for the Blightsteel Colossus. This guy's a one-hit kill. Y'all know how I feel about that. Rules Committee, come on. We need Infect to be 20, not 10 in EDH. I realize they have already stated that they won't because it's not a big enough presence, but this one card existing alone is enough to raise it. Unless they're just going to ban this card. And I don't think they'll do that until this card gets just ridiculous in becoming a problem. It is a mythic, it's kind of old, not everybody has it, it hadn't been reprinted. I don't know, maybe in one of the Masters Edition things that they're doing, they'll reprint it and everybody will get their hands on it, and it'll be a... But poison in EDH needs to be dealt with. Everything else is double in EDH. Why shouldn't poison be? I'm going to say the most oppressive creature in this deck. The ability with your clock and your... Oh my gosh. Just the ability to steal the board is insane. Now, I know Microsynth Lattice with him is dumb. I do not... can't actually put my hands on a Microsynth Lattice right now. It's in one of these million decks up here, but as soon as I find the Microsynth Lattice, it will go in here, obviously, just for Memnarch and the clock and the ability to, during your upkeep, I think I'll take everything you've got. It's dumb. Typically, when you're producing mana for Memnarch, 3 and 4 mana per land, when you Memnarch, a lot of times the game just ends then. It does. Now, I think I have one card left, and I believe it to be the most oppressive card they have ever printed in blue. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. Why does this exist? 10 mana. You may cast cards for the free. Now, y'all know how much I love the free. But really, I don't understand why this even exists. It is super good, super powerful, and I absolutely hate it. You know what I mean. Here again, I think this will be in a, Masters Edition set to try to be the carrot to get people to buy it. But, wow. Omniscience, the ability to just play spells for the free, that's a little too much. I don't care if you cost it 1,000,000 mana. That's what I have for Teferi. I almost feel dirty just talking about him. Because and as cards come out, the more oppressive cards I can find, the more I put in there. It's a deck you pull out about once every 6 months. You got to give people time to forget about it. Or if you carry it with you when you've lost 5 or 6 games in a row and you're like, okay. I don't know. But everybody's got that one deck that's just, aww. Here we are. Teferi, Mage of Chicago, or as my son calls it, Champion Chicago Fries. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I know this was a kind of a long video, but this was a kind of old deck here that I wanted to go through. Appreciate you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If there's anything I need to cover, give me deck suggestions. I appreciate you watching. Y'all be sure to like and subscribe. Spread the word, tell your friends, and appreciate you watching. It's time for a shuffle and a cut.